welcome back to the Cocked Dice. In this week's video I'm going to tackle a Sanguinary guard in Primaris form. These combat troopers are one of the best in 9th edition, and I thought it'd be quite interesting to try and blend the newer Primaris aesthetic with the kind of very old school over the top Sanguinary guard look. So let's take a look at the parts we're going to need for today. So for the intercessor body, I'm of course going to use an assault intercessor. They're nice and dynamic. All you need is his body for this. The rest of the parts, all this is a Sanguinary guard kit. So essentially I've got left and right arms. I'm going to use the chest plate. You've seen me do this a couple of times. The fantastic Sanguinary guard backpacks. I've also grabbed an extra arm. This one's for a Reaver kit, but it can be from any Primaris Space Marine kit. I need that because this arm is probably going to be a bit too short because it's made for firstborn Marine, so I need a longer arm. I'm going to take the bolt pistol off and drop it on here instead. So with that, we'll get started. So the first job is to clean up and stick together the torso of your Space Marine. So just the usual, mould lines all around, clean it all up and get the two parts of the Marine stuck together. So before we stick this torso together, one thing we're going to need to do is swap out the chest piece. Now, this would normally go over the belt, and the six-pack essentially just goes slightly over the belt and groin piece. With Primaris you can't do that, so we're going to cut up to the belt on this side. So I'm going to do this with a knife, but you can do it with a saw if you wish. You just take the knife right across the centre, and we're just going to pull his leg off. Just going to push gently down. Don't put too much pressure on because we don't want to cut oddly. Just cut through here nice and gently. See, I'm almost through there. I'm just going to do this at a slight angle. On this side. There we go. Now we've got the belt piece, we can just clean up the top of this with a knife. Then we'll test fit the chest. As you can see, we're going to have to take those blood drops off. They're not going to fit on at all. So we'll just trim these off. So as you can see, we're going to have to cut it down just a wee little bit there because it's just sticking out. We want it to touch. So with that trimmed down a little bit, you can now see we've managed to fit the top of the neck collar nice and level. So we'll get that glued on, pop him on his base, and leave him to dry for a little bit. These areas down here, and obviously the shoulder area, we're going to fill those with green stuff in a little bit, just to make sure that we've got some structure to it that we stick the arms on. So while we're waiting for his chest to dry, we're going to stick his backpack together as well. We're not going to glue this onto the model, we're just going to glue it together, and then we can use it to test fit and ensure that things like the shoulders fit neatly when we've got them onto the model. So there's his backpack glued together. We're going to leave his wings separate. They kind of go on the Space Marine's back. Obviously the back of this intercessor doesn't have the little nubs, so they would normally go in here. So we'll leave them till later on in the conversion and put them on once we've got his shoulder pads and arms into place. We'll do some work on his gun arm. So for this, we're going to need the Angelis bolter, I think it's called, and a spare arm from any intercessor or other Primaris kit. So looking at this arm, we're going to take it just here where the joint meets the rest of the arm, and you want to cut this as level as possible, and you want to ensure that you've got a nice level surface on the back of the hand, the wrist there. So this is obviously going to get mounted onto here, so I just need to figure out where his hand's going to be. So if we look at that, you can see roughly where his hand needs to be, so we need to cut back to, I'm going to start at this line here. So looking at that, this line here looks to be a good place to cut. So we're just going to cut across there, like so. Then we'll see what we're left with. So we've managed to cut it a little long on the forearm, so we're just going to trim very slowly. So we just need to level off this, make sure the two sides are nice and level, and then we'll glue them together. So now we've got these bits ready, we're just going to stick the arm together nice and quickly. Now I've done a test fit, so you want to line the top of the bolter up with the arm here. Just checking to make sure it's nice and central and pointing in the right direction. Then of course, drop his hand on underneath. There we go. Pop that to one side to dry for a bit. So we're going to return to the main body of this, and I've mixed up some green stuff, and we basically have to fill out the shoulder area here, level out these sides a little bit, and fill the area around the neck joint there. So just grab a little ball of green stuff and we'll start poking it in. Grab a wet modelling tool and then we're just going to level it off. You've seen me do this before on other videos, hopefully. And we'll just work it in. So I'm going to speed this up and I'll see you on the other side. So now we've got a pretty reasonable transition between the front and back half of this marine. We're going to get his arms and head glued on. I forgot what I was going to stick then. So a little bit of super glue. This will bond very quickly with the green stuff. So we're going to have to just his arm on where we want it. And I just realised I forgot to drill the barrel. There we go. Same with his other arm, the power fist. Now I'm going to stick this slightly lower. So I'll stick his power fist slightly lower than it's supposed to be. Try and give it a bit of length. Yeah, quite happy with that. And then I'm going to pop his head facing the same direction as the pistol. The benefit of sticking stuff onto green stuff is you've got a little bit of time just to pull it around a little bit. And the green stuff will, as you can see there, fill that gap quite nicely. So I'll pop his shoulder pads on as well, if I can remember which way around they go. Right, posh shoulder pad goes on this arm. So we'll pop his shoulder pads on, the posh one goes on this side. Oh, come on. And the other plainer one on that side. Backpack will fit on neatly there. Now we've just got to fit his wings. So because this guy's more dynamic pose, I'm going to do a little bit of green stuff artwork on the back. So because we haven't got any attachment points for the wings, you'll need two small bobs of green stuff about the same size, and we'll just drop one either side of his back here. We just need to wet the wings, and we're going to push them in. So we've got a clear attachment point later. Then we'll just check the actual backpack fits itself. It will do. Nice and tight. Then you can pull these out very gently. And so, as I've done on other models, just to hide some of the green stuff work, we're going to drop a couple of purity seals just on his chest here and here. This will just help hide the green stuff work a little bit. And there we have it. That is the finished Primaris Sanguinary guard. I'll get him painted up and you'll see him in a video in just a moment. And thanks for joining us here at the Cocked Dice. Why not like this video and add a comment below? It really helps boost the channel. And while you're at it, if you click on the icon below, you can subscribe to the channel for all the latest updates as soon as they're live. Why not check out some of our other videos and playlists? You can click on the ones on screen right now. Take care, and we'll see you next time.